Welcome, I'm Dan Chung. I'm a cameraman, and some of you may know me as editor of newsshooter.com, but we're not here to talk about me today. We're actually here to talk about the making of an extreme sports documentary feature film. It's called Don't Crack Under Pressure, from the Nuit de la Glisse series, and we're going to be talking to the filmmakers in just 1 second. A little bit of housekeeping before we start. We're going to have, this whole session is going to be about an hour long, just under. We're going to start with a few questions and answers with the filmmakers right here, and then we're going to get some questions from you, the audience. In between, we'll be asking you some poll questions where we get to ask you, the audience, what do you think about certain things, and if at any time you want to contribute to this conversation, there is a hashtag FS7ExtremeFilming, which you can put on Twitter, your social media, and hopefully we'll pick up some of those questions. So right away, I'm going to introduce Thierry Donard and
Hello.
Simon Favier,
Hello.
the filmmakers of Don't Crack Under Pressure, which is a feature film. So, Nuit de la Glisse, can you explain exactly what that is, Thierry?
Nuit de la Glisse, things like more than 35 years ago. On the beginning, it was a festival of combined a lot of films, and we can say as a group of persons that create, the state of mind of the freeride sport in the world, I think. And I am the survivor of the team, and we can say at the end of the 80s, I finished alone. And
So it started as a sort of festival of extreme sports filmmaking.
Yes, but especially with the filmmaker, they're making on 60mm films at that time. And
out of that, what came next was the Nuit de la Glisse movies, which were made by you. Is that
yes,
right?
and after with the evolution of all the video and technology and cinema distribution, we becoming on the end of the 90s, 100% on the cinema, and we are worldwide right now in distribution on the cinema, almost every country.
Okay, and so what you do essentially, if we're going to show a little bit of video now, is you focus on a group of filmmakers every year, and you make a motion picture about them and their activities. Is that right?
Yes, and I try to do series. I think we are in the middle of the new series, Don't Crack Under Pressure. We have some athletes. They used to work with us like from 11 years right now, for a snowboarder, Matanet, and some wingsuiter for 5 years. We have enough footage to tell a story, and especially from the last 2 years, we're filming on 4K, and we have more opportunity to go on a bigger cinema, and the demand of the cinema theaters is big around the world right now.
So you are the director and the producer as well, or kind of, and the DP. You're the primary. You're the main person involved in the making. Simon, introduce you. What is your role in this?
For me, I work with Thierry as a DOP, so I take care of the technical part and like making all the camera work together. And I was a professional snowboarder before for 15 years. I started filming with Thierry, and then my 3 last years of being a snowboarder, I started learning how to film with Thierry. And then after that, I ended filming with him for the movie. It's 10 years now.
And now you're a full-time DP?
Yeah, now I'm full-time DP. Most of my time is with Thierry, and when I have free time, I do other projects.
Thierry, you were also a sports person?
Yes, I used to be a skier. And
professional skier? Professional skier,
yes.
So what was it that made you go into filmmaking?
And I think it's passion for images from young as well. And I used to make films when I get 13 with a small camera on the time, Boer or Beaulieu, and when I started to be a professional skier, I also filmed for Dick Barrymore, an American filmmaker, which is the king on that time, and I created my own company and starting to hire a film director, and I'm not satisfied about the job they did. I say, okay, I take the camera right now, and it's better for me because I know how to direct a sportsman, and I know what they feel, I know how they will react. That's what I like on it, you know.
And Simon, you used to be a snowboarder, but what kind of sports are you filming? What sports are in the film?
In the film, most of the time we have like skis, snowboard for the mountain part. Then after you have like the water sports, will be like kayak, surfing and kite surfing. Some years we had some skateboarding, some years we had some bike. Depends of the. Well, sometimes you have like problem with the snow. You don't have enough snow, so you need to maybe put more sports to have the length of the movie. Sometimes we have like a really good winter, so we have more ski footage. So maybe we don't put the bike, but most of it is like extreme sport. Who have always the same way of thinking. It's not about competition. It's about enjoying state of mind, enjoying the sport you do in the beautiful nature where we are.
Well, that's great. It's a great moment to sort of show some more film, I think, of what it is that you guys have been up to.
Yeah.
I think we could show that right now.
You know, there are risks out there. I definitely don't want to get hurt. I don't want to die doing this. But I think without getting that excitement, the scare, it's not as much fun. So
when you're in the ocean, it doesn't matter because you have to be aware. You know, if you don't think about what you're doing, you could end up dying.
We intend to be flying down to Mont Blanc.
We're gonna use oxygen because the jump starts in 5,800 meters. It's like very, very high.
Tu fais un tour par là? Ouais, qui a eu pas mal de fractures depuis l'autre jour.
We did hear what we came for, and we did not crack under pressure.
Some amazing footage there, and we'll get into how that was made in just a second. Before we go any further, our first poll question, our first audience question for the day is, do you actually yourself shoot under extreme conditions? And you'll see the option to click for the answer on the screen there. And we're going to move on. Thierry, this is obviously a very challenging and complicated film to make. Every year you make it every year. What are some of the ways in which you organise and make it happen?
It's a lot of. I think the success of this kind of film. Of course, it's a day we will going there and you take the. We don't make any mistake, technical or choice, but it's also the
pre-planning,
pre-production, looking for the weather, talking with the weather report, to make sure we're choosing the right window, organization. Everything have to be perfect. Otherwise, I don't sleep the night before, and I'm more relaxed when I think everything is okay, and then the day after I'm fine, but it's also to cap the right moment. That's make the difference, and also the experience. Experience is important.
And how many people do you have helping you to create this? Who's on the team? There's two of you, and who else?
Yes, a crew. We can say a normal crew is 12 people. We have 3 operators, including myself, a guy making of. Now we have also this making of is take importance. A person for POV camera for the Sony Action Cam to be able to put in place, and to make sure everything going well, because the riders they're always moving the camera, they forget to put on, etc. We have a person completely dedicated on that. plus a still photographer, sound engineer, guide, high mountain guide when you film in a mountain, water patrol when you film in the ocean, and also a person, DP assistant. It's a crew between, you can say, 10 and 15 people.
That's a huge operation.
Sometimes, yes. But when we have an objective, it's fine. The worst case is when you have a big crew with you and you don't know where to go and what to do. Then it's like a chaos because everybody has his own idea. Then the best is you have one objective, you fix on that objective, and then you're making the best film. And my role is to coordinate everything and to be clever on that time. And I have to be clever for sure.
So just to interrupt very quickly, we've had the results of the first poll question. Apparently 45% of people say they also shoot in extreme conditions. So maybe some of your rivals or your friends are out there watching.
Probably.
Your mother. So anyhow, my question to you, Simon, is we've talked about this planning. How long do you actually have to shoot some of these sequences? And is it hours, is it days? I mean, what's the sort of time spans involved?
When the weather condition and everything is with us, you can shoot. I mean, it takes between 5 to 10 days to shoot like real sequences. After, because we're dealing with a mountain sport or a water sport, you always have the meteo condition that can block you. So we often take like 15 days to a month for each sport.
And what's the longest you've had to wait in one place?
I think the longest was always with the surfing, because they say the swell is coming and it's not coming, or it's the wrong direction, or the wind is picking up, so you don't have it. So we wait like 1 month and a half in Tahiti.
1.5 months in Tahiti?
1.5 months.
A lot of people would quite like to wait for 1.5 months in Tahiti.
It was not bad.
It's a nice holiday.
It's a lot of down days sometimes, you know, when you have nothing to do, you get nervous, you wait for the condition, and when the weather report is chaotic, you know, like it was right now, it is right now, then sometimes it's very difficult. But we have to know, on normal day for filming in a mountain and even surfing, we wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and we finish at night. At night it can be 6:30, 7, 8 sometimes. When we film in Europe, when we film in Scandinavia, in Norway, it can be midnight because we have all day long, you know, until very late in the spring. And after that, we have to discharge the card and everything, clean the camera. It's such a long day.
And how about the demands on your equipment? Maybe we've got a shot of you here with some of the gear that you use.
Yeah.
What are the demands on gear? What's it got to be able to do to help you make your films?
The demand is to have a small camera, compact, not too heavy, with a lens, small lens like we have, and this is what we find on the S7S. You know, it's S7S and the FS7, of course. And
so you're using primarily, which is your primary camera? What was the primary camera for your lot for Don't Crack Under Pressure, the first part?
FS7.
This camera right
here?
Yeah,
this camera, yes.
And how many of those did you take on the shoot?
3.
Okay. Well, we'll get back into the technical stuff a bit later, but that's really it's good to know. What about Simon, I'm going to ask you, how about the danger aspect of what you're filming? I mean, you were a professional athlete.
Yeah.
I mean, this is dangerous stuff that you're doing, right?
For sure it's dangerous because you are not in a studio and you are flying in a helicopter, the helicopter can crash, you are on the mountain, the avalanche can go, but sincerely when I was riding I was feeling more the danger, and now I feel the danger for my friends who are riding while I'm filming them, because I know where they are, where is the real danger, and you always start the day having a little thought, I hope everything is going to be okay today, the mountain is with us, the nature is with us, and I hope everything is going to go right. And when your friends start the ride, you know, you're like a bit stressed for him, and then when he's finished, you have like the relief that nothing happened and he had a really good riding down, and then you think, oh, I had a really good shot too, and everything makes you so happy. But I feel okay, of course I feel the danger because we are in the mountain with them, but I think it's more them who are really in danger compared to us.
And actually, to sort of to stress that point, we have a short clip which we can show of, which is in the opening part of Don't Crack Under Pressure, and it shows a quite spectacular accident that happens, and maybe we'll watch that and we can talk about it afterwards. So Thierry, what exactly happened there? It looks terrible.
It's not so terrible, okay. It can be consequential for sure. It's the first minute of the filming last year, and we have an exceptional condition in close to the Chamonix Valley and close to Switzerland, a place called Valorcine. And we're waiting for the snow for such a long time. We have the world champion of freeride, and also Wille Lundberg is one of the best skiers in the world on freeride as well, plus Matanet. And Wille climbing up a little bit, like 100 meters, and build a kicker. And normally I give the shotgun the first riders going down at Matanet because he have more experience. And that day I give a chance to Wille, and Wille won't do. He won't do his best.
He's the guy who's you see crashing there.
And I'm in the helicopter and I don't realize what happened, you know, to be honest. As soon as I see him landing, because on the viewfinder, you know, it's kind of wild and we're so exciting. I saw him in the air, try to do a backflip, huge, but it's almost impossible to sticking on the landing because it's so steep. And of course, what happened happened. He loses his skis and it's starting to tumbling. And the danger is not towards rocks or everything because there's no rocks there. Is to have a problem. Okay, he can of course broke his legs or whatever, but this is not consequential. What this can happen, the heart can have a, it can broke.
It can be serious.
Yes, and because he's tumbling and with all the gravity, this is the worst case. And this is the first second of the filming. Can you imagine myself on a helicopter and I say, oh my God, I have to take off the element, put in the back of the seat, rescue him with my friend, and call the film. And after that, we have to start again. And
but you kept it in the film.
Yes, of course.
I guess that
because
he
I have to show you the
survived
truth. I don't want to lie about that. This is our world, you know. This is the way those guys live, you know. And
so what you were filming this? Did you film this as well?
Yes,
I was shooting
what were you thinking at that point?
But when I saw him launch the jump, I was like, wow, man, it's going to be a huge jump, perfect for the movie. But when I saw him over-rotating already super high in the air, I knew he was never going to land it. So I was a bit scared of the consequences. Like Thierry said, when you tumble too much, it can be dangerous. And then you can never know, maybe when it lands and start to tumble, the snow start to crack, then the avalanche catch him when you have no skis.
Do you ever think, oh, I should stop filming, I should do something?
No, because I think it's not. Sometimes I look a bit above my eyepiece, you know, but I still film because, you know, if something happens, you are filming it. Even for the rider, it's good to have it like a memory, you know, because I'm sure he's not going to die and he's going to recover from his injuries. So maybe it's good to have it as a
if you're
souvenir.
following him, can you help to find?
And yeah, the thing is when you have, for example, it was more for the case of Loic when he was the avalanche because
he's another accident.
When you have avalanche, you know, you don't want to search from the beginning, so you always try to look where is the last time you see him. So you know you're going, okay, I see him there, so I'm going to search under, not above.
But for example, I put a thumbnail after that, and we find his skis. His skis there because watching the footage and I say, okay, the skis are
there. So if
there.
you hadn't been filming, you would have been harder to find.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to move on a little bit. Our second poll question for the viewers at home or at work or wherever they may be is, what challenges do you face? We're hearing some of the challenges that Thierry and Simon face. What are your challenges, some of the challenges that you face when filming? And you can click now to give us your answer. We're going to move a little bit onto the technical side of the production. We're going to talk about how you decide where to put yourself, how you decide where to position cameras. What's your basic setup for something like that ski accident? How many cameras have you got? Thierry?
Normally we take 3 or 4 camera. Of course, like I say, we have the POV camera, action cam Sony, and one person is dedicated. We have to make sure everything going well, the right angle, everything. But before we decide in ski, for example, we're deciding how the line, which one won't take this line, etc. We scout everything. As soon as everybody is okay, Simon and I, we have a little chat together, say, okay, we're going down there, we're placing a camera there, one camera in the heli, if we use the helicopter. And it doesn't take a long time for us, but sometimes we have a surprise. We say, okay, let's try to go there. We go with the heli and we count landing, it's very edgy or exposed for the, we can receive a ton of snow on the face, and it's so dangerous. It happened with me last week.
You have to be able to change and alter the plan,
yeah, we have
the shooting
to,
plan,
yeah,
just like that.
We have to improvise sometimes. But also, what I will say, my first vision of the situation is always the good one. Because every time I see something look nice and good for me, I realize even if I try to find better, I will move 2 meters higher or 10 meters on the side, it doesn't look the same. The first impression I have on my vision is the right one. With my experience, is what I get. I say, okay, I like this, put my camera here or this camera here.
So, Simon, where are you in all this filming then? Are you in the helicopter?
No, most of the time Thierry is in a helicopter because it's like for the guy with most experience. It's a bit greedy. And I understand because in the heli is where you have the more sensation. But me, most of the time, I'm with the tripod and the long lens in front of the face to give the very steep aspect. And Thierry is used to helicopter, so he can talk with the pilot. They know each other since 15 years. So most of the time we do like that.
And you have an FS7.
Yeah.
And what kind of long lens are you using?
Last year, I think we used the 600. C'était quoi là?
The
stabilizer.
Yeah,
82.
Yeah, Sony, and this year we used the 70-400.
Ouais.
And that's
with
an
A-mount
lens
yes.
with an adapter on it.
Yes, exactly.
And that gets you the reach that you need to follow
Yes.
somebody.
Yeah.
I'm amazed how you managed to follow somebody so obvious. You know, it's a difficult thing to do.
Yes.
That's what is good.
Does it help that you were a sportsman before to follow people like that?
Yeah, because I quite know. I know when I see the line, I know where the guy is gonna pass. I discussed with him before, of course, but I know, for example, if he's gonna do this turn, he's not gonna end too far. So I know I can come back already on the left because he's gonna turn there. So I know a bit the line he's gonna take. So it's helped me a lot to follow him with fluidity.
And
So
sometimes he disappears behind the rocks, and what Simon did very, very well, he doesn't stop his movement, and he catch the guy exactly in the middle of the pictures after the rocks, and he keep going to film him. That's the good thing, because if you stop, what is the worst case is to stop the framing and come back on it, then okay, we have to cut.
So it's not just helicopters and tripods you film from. We also have a rather interesting picture, which I want to show now, which perhaps you can explain what's going on in this shot. Who is this and what's on his head?
Okay, this giant over there is an Austrian guy called Christopher, and we're talking about the quality pictures we can have that day for filming wingsuit. And he said, "Oh, I'm a strong guy. I can carry every camera if you want."
So this is for those people who don't know. These are wingsuit guys.
Yeah, the wingsuit
jump
guys.
off hills and
they will jump.
fly.
They will jump actually on that filming and shooting. They will jumping at 6,000 meters high, above the Mont Blanc, and with oxygen and everything. Then is a lot of difficulties with one of the longest run ever they did before, and we take the FS7 and we take off most of the gear. We don't need it. And we put on the head of Christopher, and the result is fantastic.
And what would be the benefit of that over a regular action camera, POV camera?
It's different. Christopher have a different angle. The POV cam like if you say POV, we put in.
You use a lot of action cams.
Yes, the action cam, the super
Sony,
good
the
quality.
Sony ones.
Yes, exactly. First because they're stabilized. Second because they film on 4K. You can changing also the angle, and we put on the riders. Then we don't need that to do the filmer. Christopher is the filmer. Then you need a bigger camera to have a different perspective, and of course better quality. You can compare quality you can have with FS7 than with an action cam. Then and it's choosing to take an angle we don't have with a POV camera, like a normal DP.
Okay, and you also you've taken the cameras into some other pretty amazing situations. There's a still we can show of a free diver. Is that right?
Yeah, free diver on the water.
Well, what does this guy do in the film?
He's a world champion of free diving, and for one of the category, because there's many category, and he's able to stay almost 9 minutes on the water. But that time asking to go 35 meters deep with no mask, no suit, on the middle of the shark on the lotus position, and stay in front of the camera and show how he can be calm under the water. This is the idea of the sequences. And I remember it's one of the dreaming footage I did in my life when I saw him going down like a statue and perfectly landing in front of me, and I'm on the water with the camera and shoot
wow.
normal motion, even 24 frames per second, 23.
And he stays there for, I've seen the film, he stays there for ages.
Yes.
And there are sharks and
yes.
it's quite something.
In the movie theaters, when people watching that on 4K on big screen, even if it's we can say boring sequence, because
it's almost
nothing
spiritual though. It's
yes,
kind of has that Zen feeling.
Yes, but people watching that because they want to know how long he will stay, and they realize it's 35 meters deep water above him. They say, this guy can't stay so long, it's not possible. And they see the fish moving on the normal speed behind, and say, okay, when he will stop? They are very intriguing, you know, it's a interesting sequence.
Okay, we have another picture we're going to show you. This time we're going back to the wingsuit, guys. I mean, we were talking a bit about POV cameras. So what's going on in this shot?
I am in the edge of the Mont Blanc side, and we deciding with Matthias Wiest, to one of the best wingshooter in the world, with the anonymous person follow him. I can't say his name because he wants to stay anonymous. And
so yeah, just to people, there is one character in the film that is completely blurred out because he just does not want any publicity of that kind.
Yes,
it's fascinating.
He's a very pure person, you know. Matthias he do that as a hobby, and he have his own job. He doesn't want to win money to do that.
So, but the main guy here,
yeah,
he's
Matthias. He's supposed to pass by to me, very close, and at that moment he's like probably at can say 70 centimeters above my head, and
wow. And you're static, or you?
Yeah, I'm static, and I pan when he pass. You know.
Are you not worried he's going to hit you?
No, I trust him.
That's a lot of trust to put in somebody.
Yeah, but I can tell you, when you zoom back, normally I never use the zoom, but that time I used the 135 millimeters, and I zoom back him. I don't have a tripod, because you can't have tripod. You can't move so quick, and I saw him coming to, and I am 60 frames per second, and I open the zoom, and suddenly at 28 is there. You know, I say, wow, it's very close. You know, almost fall because the wind.
Well, I would be scared. But anyway, so I need to move on to the next bit. But before we do, we had the results of the last poll and the poll question, and it's production and funding that are the two things that our viewers seem to have biggest issues with. So we're going to go and talk about that and a little bit later on about how you fund and produce your movies. Technology. We all love technology. We all love gadgets, but you know, for you it really matters in a way that perhaps it doesn't for some other filmmakers. You know, well, there are certain criteria which your equipment has to fulfill to work, right? Well, what does your technology have to do? What do the cameras have to do for you, Simon?
For me, what is really good with this camera is first the battery. They are really small and they last really long. They are not scared of the cold, and the camera too. The camera is working with cold situation, warm situation, humidity. That's all the the different things we meet in our shooting, because sometimes you are on top of the mountain, sometimes you are under the water. So this camera is really like working everywhere. And what is good, it's very light, compact. You can put like maybe 4 lenses plus the camera and the battery for the day in your backpack, so you can hike really high in the mountain, do some like kind of steep things. And it provides you with a 4K quality that is really important nowadays for us, especially when we are in a cinema.
So leading on from that, it's probably a good time to ask our next poll question, which is how important do you the audience, find technology for your filming? And there's a range of answers you can click on right here. So I'll give you a second to think about that and we'll resume our conversation. Thierry, why or how important was it to have a technology partner in Sony for the making of this film? And Sony is credited at the end of this movie. See that quite a lot of times at the end of big feature films, but you managed to get them to back you. How did that help?
When you talk about funding, for example, is a part of my budget, because renting camera is expensive, and we need camera always with us, you know. And then we have our own backpack, own setup, and everything. Then when you rent, you don't have that, you know, and that's the biggest problem. And for us, we're starting to film in January and finishing in July, and we don't know when, especially the condition will be there. Then we need to have the camera always with us. And also the technology, we have the highest technology, the support from Sony, and access to the best lens. And it's also a dream to have 3 sets of camera, exactly the same. Matching, because, oh, give me that lens, oh, give my batteries, everything match, you know. This is not a problem. When you have different setup of camera, it's getting more complicated. And we have the little sister, the SF5, FS5, sorry, which is quite good, easy to use. We use most of the time for the making of, but sometimes for also wingsuit, and ready to shoot very quickly, very light, half of size almost of the FS7.
And you used an FS7 on the helmet mount before, but presumably that was before the FS5 came out. So in future, will you put the FS5 on the helmet?
The neck of Austrian Golgot will be better for him, you know. Even if he's strong, he like the FS5.
Simon, can you give me some of your thoughts about this camera? Why did you choose FS7? I mean, Sony sponsored you, but you know they make a lot of cameras. Why the FS7 in particular? Why did you guys choose this one?
Because I think that's the one who gives us the most quality that we need in a smallest pack, compact, very effective, and like I say, even in minus 30 degrees the camera still works, plus 40 degrees the camera still works, and it's perfect to put in the backpack. It's very compact. You have all the features you need, like the sound. You can put 4 microphones, so for the interviews it's perfect. It's a really practical camera.
So I've just had the poll results, and it seems that you're not the only people who think technology is important. 90% of the audience thought that the technology was either important or very important, which is unsurprising, I guess. Yeah. I guess we all know that as filmmakers. Yeah. You know, it's sometimes fashionable to say that technology doesn't matter, but actually, when you're doing critical stuff like this, it only happens once.
Exactly, and when I mean, it's my work, it's Thierry's work. We want to give when we are filming. We want the people to see the best quality we can provide them. So of course we are always running after the technology, because we want to, if it's 4K camera out, we want 4K camera. If it's slow motion camera, we want the slow motion camera, because we want to give the best that we can do with it's like a good worker always have good tool, you know. So.
Thierry, what sort of lenses are you using with these?
I like the 28-135, because he offer
That's
you.
This one.
Yes, this one. Yes, he offer you a very nice range, and I used to see the film in cinema. The quality is fantastic, and I like also the wide angle. You know, I use also Zeiss, you know, Loxia and Nuit, but also the 10-18 from Sony.
Yeah, that's an underrated lens. I use that one as well. The little zoom, the E-mount zoom.
The quality is incredible, because on the beginning, I think, okay, the price of this lens is not so high, then maybe the quality is not good. But I tested and
yeah, it's good.
It's good. Okay, it's what we can say about it. And it's compact in the. Okay, it can be stupid, you know, to have suddenly a huge lens with support and everything. We have one of the camera, FS7, with the V-Lock and big batteries and the support system to be able, in order to put a long lens. That's why we have one. But the other one, they are quite light.
So the film, it's in 4K?
In 4K, yes.
Totally in 4K, and shooting in 4K in the cameras?
Yes, with XAVC codec, internal.
So not RAW?
No. We put in, I use S-Log and Gamut 3 and Cinema AI, and also we can use on HDR for new technology in the futures. And I make tests. You know, the problem with the RAW is the time to deloading the cart first, the weight. When you are on a boat, when you are in a jungle, where we was last week, we have no time to deloading the camera all night. We have to do by ourselves. We don't have 10 assistants with us, and the backup. You know, it's not ecologic. I think it's you need like a lot of hard disk.
I think RAW is great in a commercial environment,
yes,
or a motion picture where you've got the DIT, but for the stuff you're doing, it's very immediate. It's a bit like what I do in a news environment. You don't have time to mess around with the RAW.
And I tested, you know, on the color grading and the range we have with the S-Log. I know people that will want shooting RAW all the time, but for a feature film, with the budget we have, it's not according. And when you see the result, coming to the cinema, going to see a film on Vimeo, on a platform, you will see it's shooting with the codec XAVC. Is what I like.
So you clearly think that 4K is the way to shoot. We have a poll question now for our audience. What do you think? Do you think that everybody should be shooting in 4K, or perhaps something else? So that's the question. Click the answer now. We can continue to talk about this. Do you think that people who are not shooting highly professional movies and films should also be shooting in 4K? You know, if you're just getting into this, or what are the benefits of shooting 4K? I'll ask both of you.
I think it's the possibility of the color range, stabilization, reframing pictures, making some effect. The skill is much more large than the HD or 2K. No, what do you think, Simon?
Yeah, same. I think 4K is good for anybody, because even if you go back to HD after for internet, the quality is still better. You can do movement in it. If you want to add like a composition, 3D or stuff like that, it's way better because everything is more defined and more sharp. So yeah, if you have the possibility to shoot in 4K, I think it's the best way to shoot.
And how about the audience? I mean, what's the benefit to them? You've screened this in 4K.
Yes,
to an
of course.
What was their
I
reaction?
showed in cinema. Why not to show the best technology? You know, we have the Sony projector at the end on 4K on a cinema, and the highest quality. It's what I'm looking for. I'm passionate about image. I want to sit down on a movie theaters and see my film with the highest quality as possible. And 4K is fantastic. When you show the film on Grand Rex in Paris, and it's one of the biggest cinema in the world with 3,000 people on 4K, wow. Suddenly you get satisfaction, you know. And
does it seem more real to you or to the audience, do you think?
Of course, the quality is there. And also what I really recommend to everybody, you know, when you're starting to film, you don't know if your film getting a success or not. But the standard for tomorrow and for today is already 4K. Then if you did the good films is in HD, and suddenly you want to sell your film on, is done in 4K, you lose a chance to sell on the market. You know, it's interesting.
Well, it's interesting. So we're going to move a little bit onto what we said we want to talk about.
Yes,
distribution, how you fund. Yes. So 4K to you is essential, you think, to the continual ability to sell your film?
Of course. I think HD is on a back.
You think HD is done?
Done.
And I mean, are you talking specifically about your kind of filmmaking here, or you
Yes.
think in general?
For my work, I will never go back on HD for sure. For cinema, definitively. And now the market opening differently on the MIPCOM, MIP-TV, and film market. You're starting to have a lot of demand on HD for HD TV. By chance, we pre-sell and sell the last film and pre-sell the new one on TV called
This is American.
American TV, you know, and especially in HD, you know.
4K or HD?
4K, sorry. Yeah.
So you made a pre-sale of the movie in 4K.
Yes, in 4K.
To DirecTV.
DirecTV, 25 million home. You know, this is very interesting. If my film was not in 4K, I would never do this deal.
HD.
So would you recommend, Simon, would you recommend anybody like looking to make a film like this to shoot 4K now?
Yeah, if they have the possibility to treat the footage after, and it's always better. After, it depends your setup. But
okay. How else did you fund this? So you got some money from distribution of the movie. How else do you get?
We have pre-sale, co-production. We can say pre-sale and co-production, it's like 50% of the funding, and we can say 35% from the sponsorship, and the rest with the box office of the film on cinema, and the budget of the film like this, if you ask me this question, is a little bit less of €1 million.
And from that budget you had, how does that then break down? How did you spend that money?
And we have, we can say, we keep 30% of the budget for the post-production.
And the rest is spent on what? Travel? On
traveling, salary, expenses, helicopter, boat, assurance, almost everything. You know, hard disk, computer.
Oh, and when you put the movie together, did you then go to Sony asking for the cameras? How did that work?
What do we say?
The cameras that you used. You actually went to Sony and asked them whether you can use their cameras, is that right?
Yes.
And they said yes. That's
but we have to show what we do. You know, we have a long approach. You know, and we're going step by step, and we're starting to establishing a relationship for long term. And I think it's taking the good way, and it's interesting because we have a very good support. You know, in terms of quality, and Sony is a name. You know, in the cinema world right now.
So tell me a little bit about the screenings and the premiere of the movie, because you know you've taken this probably for this kind of filmmaking to a whole other level of promotion. I guess you had a big premiere for this, is that right?
Yeah, we have a big premiere. This is also part of the marketing. We have the world premiere in the Grand Rex in Paris, but we have one also.
The Grand Rex is a very famous theatre.
Yes, because it's in France, in my home country, and we have a relationship with the Grand Rex from a long time. And it's where all the biggest films, Star Wars or James Bond, going on the film premiere. This is a privilege for me. It's also a satisfaction to have a filmmaker coming from the free art scene, be able to show his film over there. After we have one in London, one in Berlin, one in Oslo, one in New York, one in Los Angeles, one in Jackson Hole, one in Milan, one in Madrid.
It's amazing. Well, it's a dream for any factual filmmaker, any documentary maker. I think that you know there are lots of documentary makers who want to be you and have that you know to get your film in that many theatres. Do you have any other sort of tips, or do you have any nuggets of information that can help people get to where you are, be so successful?
Yeah, I love what you do and never give it up. Never give up.
Never give up.
Always do the best and give what you have the best, and if you do something good, I think people, they like it.
I think people, they have to film for the best. For me, the reference is the cinema. After, everything can be on cinema, can be on every other support. The opposite can't. Oh, the quality is not the same. I think people, when they pay a ticket to get access to movie theaters, they want to see the best quality. That's why we film with on a 4K, you know, that's and with this camera.
And where do you think it goes next? What's next for you in the Nuit de la Glisse line?
And we did season 2 of Don't Crack Under Pressure.
It's another feature film.
It's another feature film. We did one per year. And
where's that going to take you this time?
Again, Tahiti, but also Norway. We just come back from Mexico jungle for the kayak.
Can I come and join your group? You go to all the best places.
I promise you, you will. It will be tough, but it's a good experience. To be honest, last week we was one of the amazing experiences I used to have on the middle of the jungle of Chiapas in Mexico, with the Zapatist Indian Maya, which is they protected very much the area where we want to go, and then we have to deal with them before to go. And I can tell you, it's one of course, an advantage of those cameras. We are having to this place, you know, we can't come in with a huge camera, with a huge crew, everything.
So what camera are you taking?
FS7.
Are you taking the small one as well, the FS5 as well?
Small backpack, and the Indian, we have to make a deal. They carry a camera for us, you know, they're collaborating, but we can't go there with a big camera. Then at the end of that, you know, what is the best? To be able to move quickly, and to capture the scene and to capture the essence and the spontaneous moment, you know, of the situation, or to get the best gear with so heavy, with a lot of box, and suddenly when you're ready, everything's gone, you know, all the emotion is gone. And also to attract attention of people, it's not the best way. We try to be very humble on the natures, and small camera for us is to move quick. That's what we need.
Okay. Do you have a particular favorite? Well, what cameras are the cameras that you think are the best for what you do right now? You know, come on, honest opinion. What's?
It doesn't existing. The camera, the best doesn't existing. But I think the progression of of this camera could be the upgrading, you know, more slow motion, and could be Sony's on a good way, I think.
So for now, these you think for now it's this?
Yes, for now the FS7, yes, it is the best camera.
Next year, who knows? I guess maybe there's another better.
It's why we collaborate with Sony, because the evolution is quick, and next year can be something new.
So are there any other tips for using this camera that you think, Simon, do you have any other sort of specifics about using the FS7 that you think, you know, you really like, or you think people might not have noticed?
What is really good is you have the integrate filter. So it's good because you don't need a matte box. I mean, I love matte box and filters when I do like TVC, but when we are shooting and walking around, and you have like, you know, you can have some fog, and you can difference of temperature.
You don't have time for all that stuff out.
No,
on
it's
the slopes.
good. You have the inside filter. It's a really good thing. And I think it's a perfect compact camera that you can do as much as like interviews and a kind of real documentary stuff, and then you can use it to film as a real movie footage. Like you prepare your footage, you're looking for the quality.
Okay, that's great. We are going to have to wrap up there. I'm sorry that we haven't got more time to talk about this stuff, but we are going to go across to some of the questions that users have or viewers have sent in. So I've got a question here from Stefano Serragiato. Sorry, apologies if I got this wrong. I can't pronounce. Stefano, yes. Hello, what are your suggestions for aerial filming from helicopter in case I don't have a gyro? Shutter speeds, etc.
Bungee cord.
Bungee cord, yes. It's you take the FS7, you suspending with 2 bungee cord on the central, on the neutral position, and you sit down by yourself, and the camera is suspending.
So this is the picture that we saw earlier on in the the second picture we saw in the whole presentation.
Yes, I have an element. I have an element, you know, with the gyro and.
And you don't use a Cineflex. You use something.
No, okay. We try to do less as possible burning carbon, and gas in the nature. Then Cineflex is good, it's fantastic, but you need one helicopter set up a long time in advance, with 1 day preparation, with one pilot and with one operator, okay, and the other helicopter to carry the other people. Then it means like 2 helicopters per day, plus the time consuming, and you never know if it's good or not. With the small budget we have, we can't afford about that. And the element is fantastic. It's made by a Swiss guy called Thierry Donard from 25 years, almost 30 years. It's very simple, but
and it's quick
works.
To move.
It's quick release. Take 2 minutes to take off and put a back seat and to rescue people, and or to change the
Because when I first saw the movie, I thought this has got to be a Cineflex, or at least a very expensive gimbal system. But no, it's something.
I am the gimbal.
You're the gimbal.
I am the gimbal.
Fantastic.
I had my eyes, but it's tough. Sometimes I take 4 or 5G on my head, because we make 360 with helicopter.
But if you don't have the gyro,
yeah.
like Stefano says, you just think bouncing without the gyro is...
Bungee cord. Bungee cord. Bungee cord.
That's cheap. That's a very cheap
solution. Like a star.
Yeah.
So the camera is in the middle and don't move.
And so Stefano does ask about shutter speeds and things. What do you shoot shutter speed?
But it depends. When it's like not too fast, I shot 180 degrees, and when I'm far and it's fast, I shoot 90. When I'm really close and it's fast, I'm 45 or under.
Good advice.
Yeah.
I reminded the audience there's still time to submit questions if you want to submit some now. We have a little bit of time left. I'm going to move on to our next question from. I'm going to need my glasses. I can't get Mantas. Ivan. Okay, I'm going to give up. Mantas asks, how often did you come from filming a day without any good footage at all? How many days did you have that were completely wasted? Actually,
happen a lot of time. For example, because we think the conditions are there and we don't find the right condition, we spend times in the mountain to filming, and with no success. And we come back at the evening. We spend like 2 times the budget of one of the camera like this, and with no result. And like I say, we have to give to receive. Sometimes we have to accept to lose in order to win one other day, And but the experience to make the right decision.
What do you think the percentage is? Good days to bad days?
Now I'm film operation only, Then if it's not good, I don't put my camera on.
Okay.
It's simple, but I can say 10% today.
It's good days.
No, 10% bad days.
Bad days?
Yes.
That's a really good success rate.
Yes, but before it would be 50.
Okay. Our next question, I'll pass to you. It's from Jeffrey, and his question is, how did you handle vibrations while shooting with the wingsuits?
On his head?
I think, well, actually in general, both the action cam and the head.
Because the camera have a little stabilization. And after, because we are in 4K, we can stabilize again in post-production.
What, do you use Premiere or do you use to stabilize?
I use Premiere. If not, there is like a program just for stabilization called FT-Track.
FT-Track.
FT-Track is really good, and you can do it on Premiere, DaVinci, FT-Track. Depends which editor we're working with.
I learned something today that I didn't know. FT-Track. I should look
really
it up.
Good.
But now, if we do with the FS5, it has a stabilizer on the lenses, and they help a lot.
Okay, our next question is from Sebastian, who's asked. He says, "Hi guys, great footage, by the way." So.
Thank you, Sebastian.
How do you approach pre-production for your shots? Do you create a shot list for parts of the film? If not, what is your preferred method of pre-producing the look of your film?
No, I'm always preparing my film set, and make a shot list I give to my film operators. And we know the morning what we have to go, okay? And until the shot list is not done, we don't pass to another scene. It's the most important thing when you want to do a feature or a documentary is to writing before and to everything is prepared. If it's not, it's getting complicated to film by just instinct, because you will forget something, and at editing you will miss some part.
But what is good, I can say, is always make a shot list, but we are free when the shot list is done to do whatever we want. So that's, I think it's how you do it good too, you know. You have like a skeleton of what you need to make it look nice, and then after he tell us, surprise me. You know, like do some nice thing that you think is good, but he want his stuff. So we have it already, and then after we do as we think is good too for the movie. That's a kind of liberty that he leaves to us that motivates you to do better every time. You know?
So you have he gives you a certain amount of
exactly.
leeway to...
Yeah,
He's
sometimes
like,
we
I need
did.
this, I need this, I need this, I need this, and then surprise me.
Sometimes we
Surprise me. Does he surprise you?
Yeah, of course. And sometimes we say, okay, competition of DP competition. And we take a camera, we try to get the best footage. He say, and we show this footage. Everyone say, okay, I'm filmed this. Okay, so.
When did he surprise you the most? Tell me the story of what's the most surprising thing he's done for you.
No, Simon is passionate, you know. Then it's why he work with me, because we got a passion all together, and he's always happy. About what he did, but sometimes, last week, for example, we have one tripod in the jungle, and I use the tripod because I'm the boss. Then I take the tripod, and he's get a little bit not jealous, but then he take his camera, I take the long lens, and say, okay, I will show you what I can do in a shoulder, and he get a very nice footage on the shoulder, better than mine with a tripod. But okay.
Well, look at him. He's got advantages here with his construction. I think.
Yeah.
Probably a better tripod than your
Yeah,
tripod. So, another question from the audience: What is next? What is your dream assignment, job, project? I mean, are you living it? Is this it?
The dream is to finish this film first, and but my dream is to get some big wave in Tahiti. Is what we're looking for in May. And to make happen the next footage from next week, and also to do a real feature film, could be the real adventures how to make a movie like this.
Oh, of you, the behind the scene, the ultimate behind the scenes movie.
Yes, but it should not be directed by myself. We should have people coming to us and say, okay, we want to do a film about you guys. And I think, honestly, if this happened one day, it would be more interesting than the film by himself.
Okay, that's a great note on which to wrap up. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me today.
Thanks.
I'm afraid we're out of time. Thank you for everybody for watching, and thank you to my guests today. If you missed any part of this, or if you want to watch it all over again, the recording of this event will be available very shortly, and if you signed up, you'll get it via your email. There's also a short questionnaire, which if you could take the time to fill out, it would be greatly appreciated. We'd like to know whether you value these little chats that we have, and how they could be improved or better. And if you want to join the continuing conversation around this project, you still use the hashtag FS7 Extreme Filming on your social media, and maybe the conversation can continue there. So thank you very much, everybody, and that is officially a wrap.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you.